we work through the whole mechanics and the operations of who's upstairs, who's downstairs, who's in the booth, who's on the field. You just get those guys used to it. Sometimes there's a little bit of lapse in communication just because it's a new voice that they're talking to on the sideline. So we're able to work out some of the bugs and the mechanics from that standpoint and familiarity for the players. So I thought it went well.
Is anyone emerging at kicker?
At place kicker?
Place kicker.
I would say probably, if you had to give an edge right now, it's probably more of a Pickering's done a really good job in terms of his accuracy and his location. He's done a really good job. Caleb's been probably the most consistent in terms of kickoffs. So it's still an ongoing battle. Obviously, there's limited reps for those guys throughout the course of camp, just because it becomes really expensive for the team to have to go through the reps of covering a kick in terms of expense on their legs. So we try to limit those as much as we can and still up the competition with those guys.
What's Barrett's range? Do you get a sense of that yet?
How he can go? He's pretty good. He surprisingly got a lot more distance in his leg for field goals than you would think, because he's not a very big person, right? Kind of little. But he's got a pretty good range. The other day I think he was just shy of 56, so that's pretty good. That's obviously a little bit unrealistic, I think, a little bit. But he's done a good job with it.
Is Caleb also working at place kicker?
No.
Just wondering.
Yeah.
What about the return side of things? How many guys are you kind of looking at that for both punt and kick return?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a familiar crew for a lot of those guys. Tyjon has done really well. Stan has done really well. Maurice Washington has done some really good things in terms of the back end, being able to securely catch the ball and get loose. The good thing about it is we've got a plethora of guys that we can use right now. There's a good number of guys. We've got a lot of depth in terms of returners, and each one's got. Oh, sorry about that, boss. My fault. Each one's got a slightly different skill set in terms of being able to turn it on or make people miss. But I'm pretty pleased with the progression of those guys.
A lot of the same guys working at both spots? Or
yeah, absolutely, yeah. It is a slightly different animal, so we have a unique situation in the fact that we've got some guys that are able to do both. They're not always able to do both, but it makes it a lot more fun for me to be able to coach it when the guy can do both.
Is J.D. Spielman still working in there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I forgot to mention him. I'm sorry. Yes, he's absolutely doing that. Yeah, it's pretty fun to watch.
And he's doing punt return stuff too.
Both.
He only did kickoff.
Yeah, he's doing both right now. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to watch those guys work. And they get a lot of work pre-practice every day, catching it, even if it's not a day where we're catching kicks. They're getting a lot of reps pre-practice before that, so it's going out really well for us.
Is that something that you tell some of those guys to work on over the summer?
Absolutely. Like Miles Jones, because we hadn't had a chance to see him do it. So those guys caught a couple of kicks every day throughout the course of the summer. So you can really tell it. I'm really impressed with the work that the guys put in over the summer on those skill sets. It's typically something you got to kind of harp on guys on to do, and they're out there doing it on their own. So that's really a good thing to see.
You mentioned the mentality is kind of depending on what you got back there. You kind of feeling excited about maybe being aggressive.
We're going to be aggressive now. We're trying to go after some stuff. So I am excited about it. It's really cool because they've really bought into a lot of the mentality that we've got on special teams. We're going to be as aggressive as anybody you've seen in terms of special teams. Now we're going to pick and choose strategically when and where we need to go after things and when we need to return things, so we're not making dumb mistakes. But the mentality we've got is to be as aggressive as we can possibly be.
You get a good idea where Breon Dixon kind of can fit in for you?
Yeah, he's doing a good job. We're rolling him in through obviously some more passing situations, obviously with his size and his dimensions that he's got working. But he's surprisingly he's pretty tough against the run now. I wouldn't be too surprised to see him in there in some of the heavier offensive sets. So he's got to focus a little bit more throughout the course of practice. We got to do a better job with that, but he's really adapting well to his new role.
I know a week ago with Gifford, it was kind of let him get his legs under him a little bit. How is he progressing?
Every day it shows up more and more. Every day the savvy old veteran keeps coming out a little bit more and a little bit more. So the good thing about Luke is he's a really smart player. So a lot of the terminology that we use, is carried over from what he's been used to in the past. So even today, we put in a new technique today that he had when he was a true freshman here. And I was like, hey, this is that word. And he goes, oh, got it. So he's a real savvy player. He understands where he fits within the scheme of what we're doing.
With Colin Miller, how do you decide? Because I know he could go inside or outside.
Yeah, he can. It's really going to come down to more of a game plan situation and where we need him to fit the best. And, I give him a lot of credit because what we're asking him to do, not everybody can do. To be able to play both inside and outside, that's not an easy thing to do. And he's done a tremendous job of finding his role and his niche and being able to handle both situations.
As you go through camp and you get to this point, do you start to think about dreaming up ways to get different guys on the field?
Oh, yeah. So, obviously what we've got the ability to do with our guys is obviously some of the guys that we inherited were true defensive ends and not true outside linebackers. We've recruited some guys who are true outside linebackers and not defensive ends. So really, some people that would be a hindrance in how they progress through camp. For us, we kind of look at it more as a positive because now we've got the ability to package people together in certain situations and take advantage of their natural skill sets and trying to put a square peg in a round hole.
Do you have to worry about putting too many guys on the field in the regular season in your experience, or can you rotate through a lot of guys at your two positions?
Can you worry about putting too many guys in the field? No. Here's what I would tell you. If we were super complicated, then I would say yes. I get a little bit nervous about that. But we have a lot of same-as principles throughout the course of our defense. Chins does a really good job of making there be a lot of same-as principles. So while it may look configured differently, there's a lot of ability for us to be able to have a lot of carryover from one call to the next. So you don't worry about having too many guys knowing too many things because it's just this or it's just that. And for the outside backers especially, it becomes a lot easier for us that way.
I'm sorry if you were asked this already, but from that Sunday scrimmage, I guess what did you learn from some of those guys?
I think we learned how important communication is. We worked through some of the mechanics of guys being upstairs, guys being downstairs, coaches not being in their ear after every single rep like we do in practice. And so some of those guys, they're forced to have to figure it out on their own a little bit on the field and then hear a new voice as they come over to the sideline. And sometimes that's a little bit of it looks like a little bit disjointed from time to time, but it's just because there's a new voice, a new person communicating to them. It might be the same message, but now it's a different medium. So we need to be able to get those guys to be able to communicate. And that's why it's so important for us that we stress every single day communication, so that we're all speaking the same language all the time. And I know we as coaches spend an inordinate amount of time talking to each other so that we have the same exact language from position group to position group. So that if Coach Dawson's talking to my guys, he knows exactly how I say it. If I'm talking to one of Coach Dawson's guys, I know exactly how he says it. So we worked through that a little bit today, at the scrimmage day. So that was good for us to show some problems and see and make sure everybody understands these are solutions to those problems.
Did anybody show you something in that practice?
Well, it's probably a little bit too early. We were pretty basic, to be honest with you. For us, that scrimmage was just who can line up, who can block, who can't block, who can get off of blocks, who can't get off of blocks. We just want to see basic fundamentals right now. We're not trying to scheme each other up. So, towards the next scrimmage, it'll probably be a little bit more definitive as to who can and who can't.
Are you a box guy or a sideline guy?
I'm typically a box guy.
Tyron Ferguson, is he a guy, you've spoken very highly of him, is he a guy that can play both the run and the pass?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. He's got really good movement in space to be able to play out in space, out to the field, covering down on receivers and things like that. And yet he's pretty stout in against the run. So he's one of the more versatile guys we've got in my opinion.
Guy Thomas came in with a lot of highly touted.
He's going to be a really good player. Yeah, he's going to be a really good player. He's still just a redshirt freshman, if I understand that right. So he's still got this year and 3 more to go. But he's going to be, once it clicks for that kid, which it's really starting to, you can see it. He's going to be a really good player.
Now, is that a guy you're familiar with?
Yeah, from being down in Booker T and me being in South Florida, I absolutely knew who he was coming here. Yeah, his coach Ice Harris, awesome.